Hey guys, been a little while since I made a video. It's currently the start of February 2023. So yeah, I guess first off, wishing everyone a happy new year. Um, I finished off the year um, in Colombia, and I thought that I would talk today about how I was able to build like my essentially my dream life. And yeah, this isn't meant to be like a way of kind of showing off. It's more just sharing like the lessons, a bit about the journey, as always the mistakes that I made. So yeah, hopefully you can kind of walk away and learn something. So I guess to start off with, like I'll give a bit of context about kind of where I am currently in life. So I'm 27 years old. Like I have an income that ranges between about 150 to 250k per month, depending on the month, basically. And reason for that range going up and down, it kind of depends on what my focus is at the current time. And over the past couple of months, it's kind of moved away from being as focused on earning money to being a bit more focused on like health and balance within my life. Like just being totally honest, it doesn't make a huge difference to your happiness if you're making, if the difference between 200,000 per month and 250 per month doesn't make a huge difference to your happiness. If anything, it's purely like ego based about the fact that you earned less than last month. But the one thing I will say, just kind of on this point, is that there was that study, isn't there, of that there's no happiness to be made once you go past earning, I think it's $75,000 per year was what the study was, and I would say that I completely disagree with that. I would say that there's huge amounts of like happiness and satisfaction and sort of quality of life improvements that can be made all the way up until you're making about between 50 to 100,000 per month. I would say are like the key. Once you kind of get past that level, it's kind of diminishing returns because you can pretty much buy and do everything you want. There is a limit to the quality of life that you're able to buy, but that limit definitely isn't at $75,000 per year. I would say that is probably a piece of propaganda or like false information that is put out to keep people in there. Sorry, there's a very loud cat over there. That's put out there to kind of keep people in their 9 to 5 jobs, like believing that just because you make a lot of money, it doesn't make you happy. It's a complete lie. I mean, money in itself doesn't bring any happiness, or doesn't bring a deep sense of happiness. It's kind of the things that money is able to afford you, not in the way of like material possessions, although in my opinion they can also bring happiness. But a lot of the time it's in experiences and also in the fact that money essentially buys you back time. It buys you back free time, and you can do that through hiring staff, through building out software and paying to build out software to automate things, but mostly through hiring staff. And money also solves money problems. You can live in better places, you can eat at better restaurants, you can travel to any part of the world and have essentially complete freedom. So yeah, which kind of leads me back onto my first point, is that I'm at a stage in life where I have been able to achieve financial and location freedom, which is a pretty good mixture to have. I would say there's people who've been able to achieve it far younger than me, so I'm nowhere near the first person to do it. But I would say to achieve it at 27 years old before I turned 30 is a pretty nice thing to say that I've achieved. So, and like a lot of these, like originally when I first set out, my goal was to have location freedom, and I wasn't so focused on the financial aspect. When I first started out as an entrepreneur, my goal was simply to have the freedom to be able to travel. and yeah, and I definitely achieved that. So now the way that I kind of choose to structure my life is to spend 3 months in one particular location at a time. So at the start of this year, I was in Georgia for 3 months, which is one of my main bases. Then I was in Dubai for 3 months. Then I was in Colombia for 3 months after, and I've just now headed back over to Europe. And maybe I'll disclose this location later on. It's been raining today, but it's not too hot here, to be honest. It is winter in Europe, but when the sun's shining, it's not too bad. Um, yeah, and that is like my life structure. In terms of why I didn't travel more than that, is because traveling and running a business is quite hard to tie them together. I'll be completely honest. You can definitely do it, but you won't be maximizing your revenue. For example, like the past week, my girlfriend and I were traveling back from Colombia to Europe. I spent 4 days in London, and like our revenue is down something like 40%. So we're still pretty hands-on in our businesses. Like we still made um, great money. Like we did over 6 figures last month, just myself and her. That's before we look at any other creators and models that we have as part of our agency. Um, which also leads me on to the point of there's a lot of, I think it's quite funny, there's a lot of people out there kind of boasting about they're running 6-figure agencies by having like loads of girls, and really the way to do it is to minimize the number of models that you're working with, in my opinion. This is for my current opinion on OnlyFans. I think that the way to be running an agency for most people is by managing as few models as possible, um, somewhere in like the 2 to 3 range, but really, really focusing on delivering a great service and scaling up those models. And when I say scaling up, like I think that 6 figures per month should really be a goal. It's perfectly achievable if you're really focused on those creators. But not only that, I've been coming across kind of more and more frequently uh, people who are really surpassing the 6 figures per month, 250K per month creators, or they're managing an agency where they maybe have 2 to 3 creators who are each doing like $1 million per month. So, and yeah, you heard that correctly. They have 2 to 3 creators, and each of those creators are doing over $1 million per month in revenue, which when I first kind of started out in this business would have sounded absolutely insane, but that is kind of the where I'm pushing towards now, is the direction that I'm trying to push my agency towards. So once again, I've scaled down even further. We're here at the moment with like a Playboy cover model who I've signed and taken onto the agency. It's her fifth day today. Yesterday she did $2,000 on her, or just under $2,000, like 1,912 or something. Whereas previously she was doing like 6,000 per month. Um, so we're really doing like very well in terms of scaling models, but yeah, I'm really trying to work on like a much smaller scale with a very like specialist team. And I think this is something that you hear as like a um, recurring theme, but I wanted to kind of like push the boundaries and almost like learn the lesson for myself. But yeah, like again, just to actually completely contradict myself on this point, though, I am currently considering opening up like a subsidiary um, agency because we get a lot of kind of like creators that want to work with us, but normally I would say not say no to, but they just I'm just limiting myself to work with like 3 or 4 creators at the moment. I simply haven't got capacity to take on all of the model applications that we get, which is at the moment about two to three per day. I simply haven't got the capacity or like the teams in place. So one thing that I was considering doing was trying to build a fully automated agency, which would be like completely possible. And I was just kind of running through like the thoughts in my mind of putting this together. So it would kind of be like a doors open agency where a model applies and would receive instant approval, and we would have an automated like onboarding system for collecting content. They would then be immediately forwarded onto DocuSign to sign a contract to join us as an agency, and then I would put together pre-recorded videos laying out the marketing strategies that we suggest them to use and give a couple of different options on how the model should get started on like everything that we need from them in terms of content creation. And then that would automatically then be forwarded on to our team out in Georgia, who would start creating TikTok profiles, Instagram profiles, dating apps, and everything like along those lines. And the model would just be given like this is what we need to do, and we would automatically collect the content. Chatters, we're currently working with like a third-party agency who have capacity to be able to scale with us. So I was considering, just because I do get so many applications from people, and I do feel that there's like a big opportunity that I'm kind of missing out on. I have been running through the thought of, would I be able to set up a completely hands-off and automated agency, whereas currently we're in most cases taking like a 70% commission on any creator accounts that we're working on, perhaps reducing that back down, but it would be like a more hands-off experience from my end, which would actually allow me to scale up to like 100 or 200 models. So I know that's completely contradicting the point of what I just said, although I am in a slightly unique position of having a lot of creators who are just applying to work with myself, whereas most other agencies haven't got that problem. But anyway, yeah, that's like a little update from me. And just another update that I'll say as well is, often if I don't post a video for like 4 weeks or whatever it is, someone thought I was kidnapped by the cartels. Other people think that I've quit YouTube, and it's not the case at all. I know everyone is very busy in their lives, but I'm a very, very busy person, both with traveling around the world, with running the various different companies that I manage. YouTube I absolutely love. However, it doesn't often. There's just kind of more pressing priorities for me in my day-to-day life. It's just me being completely honest. I haven't always got time to sit down here. And yeah, it really kind of depends on what we're working on. And I've been working super hard on growing OnlyFans creators for the past month or so, with a slight more focus on my health, so having a bit more balance in life. But we had 2 days last month where we did $7,300, which is the best day that we've ever had, and we thought we were going to beat it, and we literally had like a second day matching $7,300. But still, like, my focus now is trying to work on how can we consistently achieve those types of numbers. We're doing quite a few like 4 to 5K days, and then a couple of 7K days, and I'm just trying to essentially build out processes and overcome the roadblocks that are stopping us from having those types of days on a daily basis. And like I said, like right now, one of my key focuses is growing creators up to like 250K to $1 million per month. Like that's the real range that I want to be in. So they're like kind of my primary goals over the next year. So just on top of that though, like, it kind of leads me onto a point of building your dream life. And a year ago, or even like maybe a year ago, I wouldn't have been so surprised. But when I kind of first started out, I'm in a position in life where I can say that I'm living my dream life. It doesn't mean that everything is perfect for me. It doesn't mean that, I'm happy all the time. That's personally not what I would look at a dream life as. I think part of the beauty of life is kind of the ups and downs, and particularly as a man, like having problems and kind of overcoming them. Like I generally thrive on being a problem solver. but I can essentially do what I want when I want, go where I want, and I have complete freedom to in almost every single aspect. Yeah, I can say that I'm currently live like my dream life. And again, it's not to sell anyone anything or to show off by any means. Again, it's more just kind of sharing how I got here. So one of the first things that I would recommend everyone to do is figure out what is it that you actually want out of life. And I know that this sounds so basic and so not stupid, but almost yeah, just so like such a basic thing to do. But it's amazing how many people, if I went up to you and asked, where do you want to be in a year from now? If you've not kind of got an answer like that, if you're not really clear on where you want to be or the direction that you want to be heading in, how can you ever expect to end up there? How can you ever expect to achieve anything if you're not 100% certain and 100% clear on where it is that you want to be, where it is that you want your life to be going? You're not going to end up there by chance. You need to be the person who like takes control of your life and every day is working on getting yourself to where you want to be. So the first step is literally take a couple of days, sit back, plan, and analyze where is it that you want to be, in a year from now, in 5 years from now, in 20 years from now. In 20 years from now, it's much harder to do because the world is changing at just such a rapid rate. But in terms of where you want to be 1 year from now, and even 5 years from now, you should have a pretty good idea. um, and get clear with yourself on it. And you don't also have to say all of the things that everyone else says. The thing about idea success is that it's a pretty vague idea. Someone's idea of success and another person's idea of success can have completely different. It can look completely different. Um, when I first started out on this journey, like my idea of success was being in Bali, and my only goal was to earn €1,000 per month, so that I could quit my job working in an office, and I could have complete freedom to be wherever I wanted. And I built a camper van, and my goal was to go traveling around Europe, and I did that, and I achieved it. And then it was on to the next thing. So like your idea of success and your vision can also evolve, and almost should evolve, in my opinion. Um, but regardless of wherever you are, you should have an idea of what it is that you want to achieve out of life. And if you don't know that, then you should take some time. You don't have to rush it. Take some time to think about it. It's a big decision to make. So I actually do a like Notion workflow. Um, I was actually inspired by August Bradley, who's a YouTuber, like a does a lot of stuff on Notion, and he does something called it's an alignment zone, where you kind of ask yourself some pretty deep questions, things such as who are you happiest spending the most time with, in what locations were you most happy, what things make you most happy, what things make you sad, what's causing you stress, and you end up getting kind of answers. They're kind of thought-provoking questions, let's say, which really make you kind of analyze your life and what are the things that make you happy, what make you unhappy. Like for some people, like their goal is going to be that they want to be driving around in a Ferrari or buy a Lamborghini, or wherever it may be. And some people's goals are going to be they've got no interest in a Lamborghini. So you really need to sit down and analyze it for yourself and write it out. Um, and I'll find a link for the video actually now that I've referenced it, just so that people can find it and go through it. But the first step is to really plan, not even to plan, sorry, to understand what it is that you want out of your life. What are your goals? What is going to make you happy? What would you like to achieve? You can't achieve everything at the same time. You need to really set out one goal at a time. So start off by working out where is it that you want to be, in the next 12 months, which is a very, very reasonable frame of time. And then to kind of break it down from there is to plan out what is it that is going to get you there. So if your goal is to have $100,000 per month in income, your goal really needs to be on generating a cash flow business. And if you want to be there within 12 months, you need to be there as fast as possible. You need to, so I will kind of break it down into step by step. So just to go into a bit more detail about this. Every single year, I will do a yearly review. Every quarter, I will do a quarterly review to kind of, so every year I'm planning out my goals for the next 12 months. What is it that I want to achieve this year? What it can be anything from what are my financial goals, my health goals, goals for my family, or for like people around me, for my girlfriend, for like whatever it is, for my relationships. And so for me, currently, it's about acquiring properties in multiple different countries. One issue that you do have when you're generating a lot of cash flow, particularly in this in the current market, is you sit on a lot of money in a bank account, and you need places to deploy that capital. So it may sound very funny to some people. I have a genuine issue of that. I need places to deploy capital, which is a primary focus for me at the moment, acquiring properties across the globe. So the next point from that is going to be, how do I break that down into projects? What projects need to be completed over the next 12 months in order for me to get closer and closer to achieving those goals? And then that needs to be broken down into tasks that you are completing on a day-to-day basis. And so you're literally breaking down a very, very long journey, your 12-month goal, into projects that are going to be completed over the weeks and over the months of any given year. And then that is broken down into tasks, which are small tasks that you complete on a day-to-day basis. And what you will find and ends up happening, at least this is what I find, is I will then go on and do like my monthly reviews and my quarterly reviews, and I just tick off goals and things that I've achieved, my objectives, one at a time. And by the end of the year, when you come back to look at your list of these were the yearly goals that I set out for my year, you realize that you've ticked off most of them. And in a lot of cases, they're goals that seem so far off, so in the distant future. A few years ago, I wrote out a goal that I wanted to be making 6 figures per month, which just sounds absolutely obscene. And yeah, like here I am. These things are all completely achievable, and it's also part of the purpose of this YouTube channel. I don't want to call it a motivational YouTube channel, but I would like to think of it as providing some type of like inspiration, of showing people what is possible. Like the amount of people that I've inspired to create like an OnlyFans agency, which is a fantastic cash flow generating business. There's going to be over 1,000 people who have got into the OnlyFans business because of the videos I put out. And the same applies to any other form of like showing what I'm working on, showing what types of things are capable, and hopefully that leads on to inspiration for other people that believe, okay, I can, if he can do it, why can't I? Which is exactly how I started out. If this person can do it, why can't I?